Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the RDA. This is your Ralf Rangnick press conference reaction. Let's get straight into it. Do remember to leave a like on the video, do remember to subscribe if you are new, and let's get straight into it. He was asked, given the recruitment of some Manchester United's rivals have been so sharp in recent years, and also given that the new manager is now public, will the focus now shift towards player recruitment, exits and loans? Ralf says, I don't know. This is the question you have to ask the board. My focus is on the last remaining games and getting the best out of those games. For the recruitment process, if you have questions about that, it's better you speak to the board. Now, obviously, Ralf, I like the fact that you say that, but we all know that the fans and anyone in general won't get a word from the board, so that's always disappointing, even though they promised good communication from the board to the fans, and we are yet to receive that as fans. But you know how it is with the Glazers. Anyways, he was then asked, Ralf, can we get your reaction to the news this week that Ten Hag is going to be the next United manager? I know you haven't wanted to talk about that and you wanted to focus on the games, but now we know it's going to be him. What is your reaction to that news? Ralf says, we don't know each other in person. We haven't met as yet in person, but from what I have seen him doing, both at Bayern and he was at the under-23 coach at Ajax, and at Ajax now, I like his football and I'm pretty positive with the full preseason, with having the chance to build and mold his own staff, also a new team, which is obvious we will need a new team, basically saying this whole team is shit. And with the full preseason, I'm pretty sure that we will see a different team and improvement on the pitch. I like that from Ralf. He's saying, yeah, we're going to need a new team because this current team it's just not it now, is it? Even after the game against Liverpool, Ralf wasn't letting anything back. He was exposing everything left, right and centre, and I like that about Ralf. And hopefully Ralf continues to work with us, and he should be working with us because we need more football minding people in Manchester United. He was then also asked, have you had any involvement in the process? Have you had any conversation with the board about his appointment? And do you know anything yet about your own role next season? He said, well, I knew that Eric was one of the candidates the board spoke to, and obviously I told them from at least what I had seen and had known people from who had worked with Eric that I think he would be a good choice. I still believe that he is a very good choice, and all the other things we so far haven't had time to speak about. He was asked, how's the team looking forward to tomorrow? Obviously had a lot of absences the other day. He said Scott will be back. He has been training with us and he will train today, so he'll be available for tomorrow. So there we go. Scott McTominay is back for Arsenal. He probably will play. He said the same is true with Varane. Fantastic. Hopefully Maguire gets dropped. And then he said, and obviously Cristiano Ronaldo is available again, which is obviously great to hear from Ronaldo. Like I said, it was up to Ronaldo, and if Ronaldo wants to play, let's get him back into the team, why not? And then he said all of the others are injured, plus Paul Pogba. Obviously, with Paul, it seems after the scan we did yesterday or the day before yesterday, it's very unlikely that he'll play until the end of the season again. No surprise there, now is it? I think every United fan doesn't think that's a surprise from Paul Pogba. So, of course, it is what it is. He was then asked about Paul. Do you think that Paul Pogba has played his last match for Manchester United? And Ralf said the doctor told me it'll take 4 weeks minimum for him to recover, and since the last game it is at the end of May, I don't think that it's very likely that we'll be able to play again. So basically saying we have probably seen the last of Paul Pogba at Manchester United. At best, he'll play one more game for us, at best. Then he was asked, no player should feel either their life or their family's lives under threat because of football. How is Harry Maguire doing after that incident? Obviously, Harry Maguire had a bit of a bomb scare at his house. So that's what that question is about. If any of you guys haven't known, Ralf said I haven't seen him because I only got to know about this terrible thing yesterday afternoon, and since then I haven't been able to speak with him. But again, this is another bad sign of the crazy world we're living in. Obviously, I feel very sorry for Harry that he has to make the terrible experience. I guess just English. He knows that we're all behind him and the club is behind him. Everybody, the players, his teammates. It's sad enough that crazy things like that happen. I guess I like that you don't have the fans there, because I definitely think the fans aren't behind Harry Maguire. He was then asked, Ralf, what have you made of the way Arsenal have played under Arteta? What do you think their style of play? He said they're very fresh, extremely young team, probably on average the youngest team in the league. Knowing that we spoke about that earlier on, they have lost their first 3 games over Brentford. I remember watching that game on TV, and I think they just draw the right conclusions from what they've experienced early on in the season. They brought in some young players, Odegaard, for example, and got rid of some players that didn't fit into that style of football. Yes, the high attacking team with the fast strikers, pretty aggressive in the first third, always trying to press and counter press, but we're still also vulnerable at the back. I like watching them actually, but hopefully not against us tomorrow. It's up to us to be aware and prepared for what they're doing up front, but at the same time take advantage of the space that we will hopefully get in their half. with regards to that, I think I've said my part in that match preview. I do think that it's going to be very difficult for us, and I just don't see how United can win this game. At best, I see a draw with the current state of United, but you never know. Then he was asked about Champions League ambitions. Do we need to win this match? He said, I don't think it makes sense to speculate about how likely it still is that we can finish fourth or whatever. It doesn't make sense after a performance like that against Liverpool. We just need to make sure we play far better. This is the only way to deal with it. He was then asked, what has the players' reaction to that defeat against Liverpool? Have you seen it, and how have you seen it in training? A desperation to put things right? He said, we only trained yesterday because the day after the game obviously was recovery. Yesterday we trained some issues in connection with the game, but the only real training session we are going to have is now in an hour's time. They were all disappointed so obviously it's now up to us and the players to show a reaction in the pitch tomorrow. Yeah, it's just I'm tired of hearing all the same stories. I honestly couldn't be asked about all of that, because clearly the players don't care about, and they aren't disappointed because they're just going to do the same thing over and over again, season in, season out, So I think it's just nonsense, that part. And then lastly, this is the last question. He has asked, do you think there'll be lots of ins and outs at the end of the season? I'm sure you've got to figure out in your head, but will you be passing that information on to Eric as to how many players you think are needed to come in the summer? And Ralf has previously said that, he thinks we need 10 players, So that's a lot. But Ralf did answer. It says, obviously there are quite a few players whose contracts are expiring. There might be a few others who, although they have contracts, are already on loan and still want to be on loan or leave the club. So it will be a significant change, and rebuild is necessary. That's clear, but how many players and in which positions? As I said, I haven't spoken to Eric in person yet, but if you ask me in my personal opinion, I'm obviously ready and willing to speak with him about my experience. But on the other hand, he would have had his own ideas that it's not 3 or 4 players. It is obvious, bearing in mind how many players' contracts are expiring. Obviously, Ralf wants a lot of players, and I don't know if any of you guys are on Twitter, because this press conference is long enough, so I don't want to read out those comments. But if any of you guys are on Twitter, please go find that thread of Erik ten Hag. He recently held like a quick interview, I think, about United or something. And just go read about his quotes and what he said in that interview. It's just amazing stuff. It really is amazing stuff, from Eric. So I can't wait till that happens. Obviously, for me, the current season, the reality of the situation at the moment, it's not really exciting, is there? There's nothing to look forward to. The games I'm not looking forward to. I don't think there's anything to play for the season. So mentally, I'm checked out as a fan. But next season, we go again and hope. But anyways, smash a like on the video. Do subscribe if you are new. Tell me what you thought about that press conference reaction. Let me know what you think of Ten Hag. And I shall see you all again for what should be a good match reaction. Goodbye.